Hello, and welcome to the 10th edition of From the Heart of the Jakuls. Unfortunately, Brumble cannot be with us this evening, as he's feeling a bit under the weather, but the tale must still be told. So I, Lothran, must carry the torch alone again. So without haste, grab a snack, settle in, get comfy, and listen to tonight's tale. Tobias! Tobias! Arlo heard his own hoarsely shouting voice, like the sharpening of a blade against a wet stone. What the fuck is wrong with you, Arlo? Arlo twisted toward the hunter, the look of disgust and loathing probably written across his aged, weathered features. Why are you trying to find the boy? Why are you still trying to save him? We know now. We caught him eating her flesh. It's over. It's not over. I promised to save him, and I'm going to find and save him. And we don't know shit, Lothane. We saw a scared, beaten, traumatized child who was starving for weeks and suffering from a facial injury. Eating, yes, jackal meat. Yes. Yes, a hand. Clearly a hand. Could you recognize what it was if you were that starved? If you were in that state? If you were as far driven as he was? Could you? Lothane went to speak, but held his tongue. He was younger and stronger now. But Arlo, he was respected by everyone, everywhere. It was Arlo. This and this alone kept Lothane silent. So can we go back to looking for him then? Arlo asked, rather than just standing around, rather agitated with his peers. Wait, Lothane interjected once more, hesitating, but still needing to say something to curb Arlo's insane drive. If Tobias is in that condition, is running around screaming in the woods really the best option for luring him out of hiding? The others shifted, hunters and warriors and experienced men each one, tilting just a little bit closer to Lothane than to Arlo. The tide was moving, it seemed. Fine, he calmed considerably. Let's not yell like assholes into the woods searching for a traumatized, mangled boy. Good point. Arlo fell silent, waiting for everyone to fall in line with Lothane, what he chose to do, and letting them slip off in their search pattern. Let them do as they wish, Arlo thought in silence. He ducked off onto a side trail, leaving the others to their business. If they found the boy first, so be it. Arlo tugged at half of his grin, pulling a snide little smirk onto his old face. Of course, if they had spotted the little drips that Arlo's keen eyes had, they might be on the same path as a trail of blood like him. Soon after, he found some drag marks, where Tobias's strange legs scuffed up some leaves, marring a series of deep cuts into the soil beneath. He had been this way. I'm trying to help you, Tobias. I'm trying to help you. Arlo reinforced his own thoughts as he took up the trail once more. A while later, Arlo stumbled upon a spattering of blood, thick, congealed, flattened leaves, kicked over grass, trampled foliage. He'd stopped to gorge again. Tobias hated what he was, what his need forced him to be, but he couldn't stop himself, couldn't keep his maw from the flesh too long. His head had changed of late. Strange how the boy was changing, how so much of him had become different over such a short period of time. What was going on here? Arlo hastened his feet upon the trail. Tobias was desperate, injured, maimed, and transforming. Who knew what he was capable of? There had been no effort to hide his feeding, even though the boy must know he was being tracked through these woods. Arlo kept his palm from the hilt of his sword. He could draw it in an instant. but he wasn't sure it was the right solution to this problem. He wasn't sure. He wasn't sure. He halted before stepping out into a clearing. That useful, familiar little feeling of his, telling him something was out of place. Arlo settled back, waiting. He'd lived too long on the edge of that sensation alone to ignore any insistence from it, even with his blood as hot as it was. He let his mind settle into place. He let the sounds of that slowly darkening forest trickle into his thoughts. There was a light, gentle breeze rustling thousands of leaves. There was a cool, moist smell to the damp greenery around him from the misting that had just let up. There was not another fact of note all around him. No whistles or calls, no hoots or hollers. Merely a crack of creaking tree limbs flexing in the evening air. And then he caught a tapping, hollow, resonant sound from some little pit nearby. Arlo walked around the clearing, feeling as much as listening, that weird little snapping vibration, eventually leading him to a deep, dark den under the belly of an ancient tree trunk. The dark forest hole, strewn with dozens of bleached, split bones, tattered bits of burial cloth, and random bits of jewelry. This explains the empty graves. That tapping halted as Arlo absent-mindedly spoke. A thin, long face slowly pushed out of the dark pit. You again. Always you. Tobias, Arlo began, not knowing where his thoughts would take him. I promised I would save you, but The face pulled back into the nothingness as if on the end of a long, slender neck. Enough with promises, old warrior. The cave and the hiding being replied, splitting open a bone for the marrow hidden within behind such concealing murk. You were never the woman's child, were you? Arlo asked as his right hand hovered near his sword hilt, still undecided about whether he should draw it, but coming ever closer with each passing second. She beat me. She cut me. She'd screamed at me for days upon days. Begged me, stop eating the meat. The darkness replied, supplying the long, slender, pale neck that it had hinted at before. If she could have, she would have forced me to be all she desired. A right foot came out of the gloom, stepping in an oddly comfortable way for being so stuck in a prone position from the tiny cave around it. Then another foot from the same side of the body struck the ground just behind the first, and another after that. Arlo staggered back, swallowing the bile lest his seething revulsion be shown to the thing before him. What was happening to this child? What was it? How could this... He put his hand on the hilt of his sword. I see it. In your eyes. That look was my life. The other side of the beast matched the first, with a large, bulbous, spider-like protruding rump disappearing behind whatever the child had become. But now I feast. Sweet, delicious flesh. It soothes a madness coiling up inside me. I smell it beneath freshly laid ground. You know, the soil breathing the wanton stench up to my lungs. You know not what pleasure it is to feast. Tobias! he shouted as he drew his sword. "Tobias! Don't make me do this!" The creature halted, slowly extracting itself from the shallow pit and moving off to one side. "You always tried to help me." They shared a quiet, silent look while the words hung about them in an odd manner. He watched the beast that had been Tobias as Arlo let the tip of his sword fall to the ground. Neither of them spoke. Nothing seemed to happen for so long. A branch nearby snapped, and Tobias fled, gone in an instant, his 6 legs carrying him further and faster than Arlo ever dared run, even in his long-gone prime. He kept his gaze on where the creature had left to, wondering why he felt the need to let time slip through his fingers just now. And so it is again, as it has been many times before. We come to the end of our time together. This has been another tale from the heart of the Jakuls. I have been your happy host, Lothran, and I encourage each and every one of you to stay safe out there.